Back at it again, and let me tell y'all something. We are so back. Oh, baby. Now, I got to talk about what Trump has released as part of his free speech policy initiative, and it is absolutely paramount, paramount that this happens. Because one of the things that I've talked about is the fact that without Elon Musk purchasing X, uh, we probably would have lost this past election. I know y'all don't want to hear that. Some of y'all hate hearing that, but I do believe that is the truth. Or at minimum, it would have been extremely, extremely difficult. Because if we had the Twitter of old and we had the Instagram of old, right? All of those platforms of old, just imagine how terrible they would have been today in terms of policing free speech. The fact that Elon bought X not only opened up free speech for X, but it kept some other platforms from policing too much because they don't want to lose, users that just went over to X because they were kicked off of these other places. So without that, we would be in a world of trouble. But one of the things that I talked about is the fact that we need to have freedom of speech on all platforms across the board. And because without it, we're just in a world of trouble. And I don't believe that Democrats are just going to lie down. So Trump came out and gave his free speech policy initiative, and I am 1000% on board. This is a longer clip. It's about it's almost 7 minutes. So we're going to watch the whole thing because it is on point. So with that being said, let's dive in.
If we don't have free speech, then we just don't have a free country. It's as simple as that. If this most fundamental right is allowed to perish, then the rest of our rights and liberties will topple, just like dominoes, one by one. They'll go down. That's why today I'm announcing my plan to shatter the left-wing censorship regime and to reclaim the right to free speech for all Americans. And reclaim is a very important word in this case because they've taken it away. In recent weeks, bombshell reports have confirmed that a sinister group of deep state bureaucrats, Silicon Valley tyrants, left-wing activists, and depraved corporate news media have been conspiring to manipulate and silence the American people. They have collaborated to suppress vital information on everything from elections to public health. The censorship cartel must be dismantled and destroyed, and it must happen immediately. And here's my plan. First, within hours of my inauguration, I will sign an executive order banning any federal department or agency from colluding with any organization, business, or person to censor, limit, categorize, or impede the lawful speech of American citizens. I will then ban federal money from being used to label domestic speech as mis- or disinformation. And I will begin the process of identifying and firing every federal bureaucrat who has engaged in domestic censorship, directly or indirectly, whether they are the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Health, Human Services, the FBI, the DOJ, no matter who they are. Second, I will order the Department of Justice to investigate all parties involved in the new online censorship regime, which is absolutely destructive and terrible, and to aggressively prosecute any and all crimes identified. These include possible violations of federal civil rights law, campaign finance laws, federal election law, securities law, and antitrust laws.
Ooh, sound like a whole lot of people about to go to prison. See what I'm talking about? Oh yeah, this sounds real good. Let's get
The Hatch Act, and a host of other potential criminal, civil, regulatory, and constitutional offenses. To assist in these efforts, I am urging House Republicans to immediately send preservation letters, and we have to do this right now, to the Biden administration, the Biden campaign, and every Silicon Valley tech giant, ordering them not to destroy evidence of censorship. Third, upon my inauguration as president, I will ask Congress to send a bill to my desk revising Section 230 to get big online platforms out of censorship business. From now on, digital platforms should only qualify for immunity protection under Section 230 if they meet high standards of neutrality, transparency, fairness, and non-discrimination. We should require these platforms to increase their efforts to take down unlawful content such as child exploitation and promoting terrorism, while dramatically curtailing their power to arbitrarily restrict lawful speech. Fourth, we need to break up the entire toxic censorship industry that has arisen under the false guise of tackling so-called mis- and disinformation. The federal government should immediately stop funding all nonprofits and academic programs that support this authoritarian project. If any U.S. university is discovered to have engaged in censorship activities or election interferences in the past, such as flagging social media content for removal of blacklisting, those universities should lose federal research dollars and federal student loan support for a period of 5 years and maybe more. We should also enact new laws laying out clear criminal penalties for federal bureaucrats who partner with private entities to do an end run around the Constitution and deprive Americans of their First, Fourth, and Fifth Amendment rights. In other words, deprive them of their vote. And once you lose those elections, and once you lose your borders like we have, you no longer have a country. Furthermore, to confront the problems of major platforms being infiltrated by legions of former deep staters and intelligence officials, there should be a 7-year cooling-off period before any employee of the FBI, CIA, NSA, DNI, DHS, or DOD is allowed to take a job at a company possessing vast quantities of U.S. user data. Fifth, the time has finally come for Congress to pass a digital Bill of Rights. This should include a right to digital due process. In other words, government officials should need a court order to take down online content, not send information requests such as the FBI was sending to Twitter. Furthermore, when users of big online platforms have their content or accounts removed, throttled, shadow banned, or otherwise restricted, no matter what name they use, they should have the right to be informed that it's happening, the right to a specific explanation of the reason why, and the right to a timely appeal. In addition, all users over the age of 18 should have the right to opt out of content moderation and curation entirely and receive an unmanipulated stream of information if they so choose. The fight for free speech is a matter of victory or death for America and for the survival of Western civilization itself. When I am president, this whole rotten system of censorship and information control will be ripped out of the system at large. There won't be anything left. By restoring free speech, we'll begin to reclaim our democracy and save our nation. Thank you, and God bless America.
God bless America. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because this is the thing. And you could see that with mainstream media. I think I played you guys that clip of, people on mainstream media being in an absolute panic, calling for the censorship of free speech. And, it lets you know that they understand that if we're able to speak freely, they're cooked. They're done. As a matter of fact, here is that clip. I believe this is it. Let me see. Yes, here it is. So, it says a lot that immediately following a loss in an election, that they're calling for the censoring of speech or the policing of speech on social media platforms. It lets you know everything you need to know. They know that if we're able to speak freely, they're cooked. They lied to us. We understand that. So we go to a place like X where we can speak freely, basically, and they don't like it. They don't like it, but they accuse Trump of wanting to be the dictator and the tyrant and wanting to rule the country. but they're the ones trying to tell us what we can or cannot say.
I think in a normal country, we would say, hold on a second, maybe we need to have a different set of regulations for social media platforms now they're this big.
It would help if we could regulate social media, because one of the biggest offenders is D.C. and Congress have not been able to do one thing in regard to the rogue corporations of social media.
And then moves them through YouTube videos, through podcasts, moves them from that annoyance all the way slowly to a full-blown fascist politics. We don't have the equivalent of Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson to move that man in a feminist direction.
Go fuck yourself.
Hey, I agree with that Elon take. But they did have a Joe Rogan. That's the interesting thing. They say he said we don't have a Joe Rogan to move these people into, like basically towards the left. So we got to censor speech. Well, you did have a Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan supported Bernie Sanders. You did have an Elon Musk. You definitely did. Elon even posted that famous the famous meme where it said, "I didn't leave the left left me," and it showed like a guy standing in the same spot, but the left moved way over and the right shifted a little bit, towards the left, and like the guy who was in the middle or slightly left ended up being like further to the right, and the left is like way over to the left. Yeah, that's their own fault. That's their own fault. And I believe Van Jones even talked about it on a panel with CNN once, a couple days ago. He spoke to that fact. So, yeah, without freedom of speech, we're cooked. We're cooked. And they know that. If we don't have the ability to speak freely, we're done. But if we do, they're done. So now it's becoming like this clash of who's going to come out on top. And, yeah, man, I believe we will come out on top, especially now with Trump back in office. Well, not technically in office yet, but he will be back in office. I have trust that he will appoint the right people in his administration. Hopefully we still win the House, which we're still projected to win the House. I need to check on that. Decision Desk HQ. Yeah, it's looking like we're still at an 80% chance, which it's dropping by the day, which is kind of concerning. At its highest, it was 94%, 94.7% chance that Republicans would win the House, and now it's down to 80.5. So just a touch over 80%. So we're still more than likely going to win the House, but that is very, very important. Very, very important. We already have the Senate, obviously, so we have the numbers there. If we have the House numbers, then we should be able to pass anything and everything we want to pass, and any Republican that votes against it should be primaried, and we shall not forget who they are. Okay? Hey, listen, over these next 4 years, I'm gonna be making a list and checking it twice. I'm so serious. I'm not playing these next 4 years with these rhinos whatsoever. I'm done. It's over with. And any rhino that pops their head up and makes themselves known by voting against the bill that is clearly good, that Republicans clearly want, I'm telling you, they're gonna be on the list. And come election time, I'm going to remind everybody who these people are. Now, I'm not calling for violence against anybody. I don't want anybody to twist my words, but they will be voted out. That's what I mean. I'm going to have a list of these people, and I'm going to be making videos on them so they are voted out. Voted out. Simple and plain. We're not playing no games, and they going to learn, okay? They going to learn. That is for sure. But, yeah, man, I'm super excited. And I think Trump could even take it a step further. Any social media platform caught, treating Democrats and Republicans differently based on their political affiliation shall be prosecuted. Shall be prosecuted. There are platforms that, and some of you probably know, that treat Republicans differently than they treat Democrats. Now, it's not completely overt. It's not completely over the top. Not as far as not what I've seen, but it's like little subtle things where it's like, bro, how is this? But like a Democrat could post this, but a Republican, like it's all of a sudden like, kind of weird. Kind of weird. So yeah, I think he could take it even a step further by adding something like that as well. But great news. Freedom of speech, baby. We are so back. We are back. Y'all let me know your thoughts, your opinions. If you think there should be anything more added to it, let me know. Hopefully, I'm hoping that over these next 4 years, I get the opportunity to meet Uncle Trump, and maybe I'll bring up some of these different ideas if you guys have any to him. Well, yeah, it's going to be a great time. What a time to be alive, huh? What a time. Peace and love. I'm out.